Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on today's We Cafe, which is Fulfill Your Hiring Needs by tapping into regional student talent. This session will be recorded and you will be able to access it as a resource to you at a later date. So we encourage you to be engaged throughout the session, and let's get started. So my name is Danielle Andrews, and I am the Outreach Officer here at UBC, and I join you from the traditional and unceded territory of the Okanagan people. And I invite you to take a moment in the chat to identify which traditional territories you are joining us from. You can also put in the name of the city or community that you're joining us from, so we get that chat going. And I wanted to identify Netta Raz on our team, who will be supporting me today. So thank you so much for being here as well. So I'll share with you about what we offer as a not-for-profit organization. So we offer financing to get businesses started. We offer operating capital to fuel business growth. And through our loans program, we offer more flexibility than traditional lenders. And that's because we take a holistic approach to providing loans based on your business viability, and it's not based on formulas. This means that when we provide loans to women entrepreneurs, it includes a diverse range of business types. And not only do we offer this business loan program, but we offer all of these wraparound supports, and they're complementary. So we offer our training like this, we offer mentoring programs and business advising. So from this essential business skills development to personalized business advice, we know the right questions to ask and the right resources to connect you to help you along your business journey. And in our mentoring programs, you can connect with a network of women, entrepreneurs, and experts from around BC who can support and inspire you. So we encourage you to stay up to date with us, subscribe to our e-news and e-blast newsletters. We've got a ton of great offerings coming up this winter and into the spring. Isn't that exciting? We're already talking about spring. Here we go. So now on to today's webinar. All right, and I'm just going to wait for my slides to load, but as I wait for that, I'll introduce today's webinar. So are you on the call today and you are trying to find employees for your business, but you're struggling to get those staff? Are you not sure where to go next? Or if you're a small to medium-sized business in BC, tapping into regional talent could support you in your hiring needs. And this could provide an amazing experience for the students as well. So today we're really excited because the Interior and Northern Work Integrated Learning Initiative is here, and they provide supports and earlier access to expand your talent pool by connecting small and medium-sized businesses with co-op students from UBC and Thompson Rivers University. Co-op does not only provide great support for fulfilling your organization's short-term hiring needs, but also provides the opportunity for employers to explore future long-term talent for their organization. So today we're really excited because we are hosting Don Sheldon from UBC Okanagan and Jessi Guercio. Oh, you'll have to help me with your last name. From TRU. Want to help with your last name? Thank you.
Yeah. Jessi Guercio.
Guercio. Okay, I love it. Thank you. And we're going to uncover how we can open the door to cost-effective hiring to increase capacity for your business while contributing to future skilled workforce. So today is meant to be interactive. We have this amazing panel. And today you are going to learn how to tap into regional student talent from 100+ academic programs through this initiative. They're going to cover another wide range of services that they provide. And it's, I really encourage you to take advantage of the time that we have today. All right, and thank you, Netta, for bringing that up. So I'm going to introduce our panelists. So Dawn Sheldon, she is the Marketing and Engagement Officer. She's a project coordinator as well at the Interdisciplinary Co-op Program Office at UBC Okanagan, located on the unceded territory as well of the Silks Okanagan Nation. And Dawn holds her Bachelor of Commerce in Entrepreneurial Business Management from Royal Roads, and she joined UBC Okanagan in November 2020. So really lucky to have Dawn here. Thank you so much. And Jessi also has a Bachelor of Business Administration with a graduate and a double major in Human Resources and Marketing from TRU. And Jessi has been with TRU for close to 5 years, first starting off as a student recruiter advisor in the Future of Students office, and is now the employer liaison coordinator. So we're really lucky to have both of you here today. Thank you so much for joining us, and I will turn the floor over to them.
Thank you so much, Danielle. I'm just going to pop up my PowerPoint and we will get started for today. Going to make sure it's up and running. Good. Hopefully everyone can see that. Yes, thank you to UBC for having us today for this presentation. It's an honor. I did put it in the chat, but I would also like to acknowledge that where I'm presenting today is on the traditional unceded lands of the Tecumseh to Secwepemc within Secwepemc, the traditional territory of the Secwepemc people. TRU values the lands on which we live and work, and as a post-secondary institution, we continue to listen and improve our instructions and supports for students. These are more than just statements or words, and all of us have a commitment to reconciliation with Indigenous people to deliver on the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action. I'll pass it off to Dawn for her little quick intro and acknowledgement.
Thanks very much, Jessi. Wonderful to be with you today, and thanks again to UBC for having us. I would like to respectfully acknowledge that the UBC Okanagan campus and my home in Lake Country, where I'm joining you from today, is situated on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Silks Okanagan Nation. As a settler on these lands who is so incredibly lucky to call this place home, I'm committed to learning more about and reflecting on the true history of Canada's relationship with Indigenous peoples and doing my part to share these stories with others. And I will pass it back to you, Jessi.
Thank you, Dawn. Yeah, so we'll get started in talking about INWIL in general and what this initiative is aimed to do. This initiative has 3 universities a part of it. So I know I'm from TRU and Dawn's from UBCO, and we are currently messing a member from UNBC. In the meantime, they just went on to other opportunities. So I think hopefully close to the end of we're almost at the end of the month. So I think we'll actually have a new person in that spot. From what we hear, it can be a little tricky working 3 different universities. So, but this is the goal of the initiative, to have the kind of the growth of work integrated learning, which I'll go more into depth with. It's something that there is an original partnership with these universities back in 2017. We wanted to build on that partnership. That is a research partnership. We wanted to build in a work integrated learning partnership. So helping raise awareness to how students can help kind of engage employers and what is available through the academic pipeline and what can be available kind of in the future to help fill those hiring needs, especially now in the past couple of years. I think it's more beneficial than ever to kind of increase that awareness. So that is the benefit of INWIL, and I think as we go along, it's definitely something we want to continue building. It is an initiative that has been funded by the Ministry of Advanced Education, along with many other projects within the province to help build that awareness for employers to help engage the students within work integrated learning. So I'm going to go to the next slide. Perfect. Oh, look at that. I pretty much explained a lot of it here too as well. Just a little bit more in depth. As I said, connecting with emerging talent allows employers to cost effectively increase capacity within the organization, develop space to innovate and contribute to a future skilled workforce within the interior and northern regions of BC. So just a quick overview of work integrated learning, and as we like to call it all the times, which is in our initiative name, WIL, is offered by 25 public post-secondary schools across BC. The benefit of work integrated learning, or WIL, it really offers students a collaboration between academic studies with quality experiences within a workplace or practice setting. I think the biggest benefit of this is that students are engaging anytime outside the classroom. Typically that's experiential learning, that's work integrated learning. They're getting those experiences that can help improve employability, knowledge and skills of the area that they're studying, or maybe outside areas that they might want to study, and helps build lifelong learning. I think a lot of us even now are still experiencing what work integrated learning can be, right? Your experience anytime you're maybe volunteering or contributing to the community, that's an opportunity to help continue and engage with work integrated learning. And so for employer and community partner engagement, participating in WIL, you're entering a partnership between the organization, the post-secondary student, and the student. And I think the nice part about this is that you have a whole office. You only see, well, you only see two of us, but again, there's 3 universities a part of this institution, and you can know that there's a whole office behind you anytime you engage with our 3 institutions. And we're going to speak sometimes a little bit about INWIL and what we're able to offer in our 3 regions. But again, anytime you want to engage outside of our typical interior northern interior northern regions that we kind of operate in, we're happy to assist there too. And there's a lot of offices across BC, and those work integrated learning offices, maybe it's called the career education office or the career and experiential learning, whatever the office may be, those institutions are there to benefit you in understanding how you can engage with students. And of course, engagement with student talent provides fresh perspectives, and it also provides mentorship opportunities for the next generation of workforce. And that can even be helping the employers or the people in your organizations gain that mentorship skills, providing that to the students. I think it's something that our office, even within TRU, we have co-op students, which is the main area that we'll talk about, that helps build mentorship opportunities and help us build what the students actually currently want and what they're looking for and how we can build them for the future. And last part, work integrated learning is generally paid. Some is unpaid, again. Typically that's for a specific program, where there could be a placement or sometimes service learning. And again, volunteering is an area of work integrated learning, which typically volunteering is not paid. And as I was saying that last blurb, here's all the different nine different types of work integrated learning. Some might be available at all institutions across BC. Some are even, and maybe not even available in the 3 institutions that we work that are within INWIL. But the biggest one that we'll focus on is within Cooperative Education, because that's the one that I think employers can really engage with the most. So Cooperative Education, co-op terms are full-time positions paid that can start in January, May, and September. The reason for these start dates is co-alongs with academic semester start dates. Typically, there can be some flexibility when it comes to when a co-op student can start, but the main thing is that it kind of has to achieve some of the specific guidelines that we have listed on the screen here. So they do have to have a minimum duration of 420 hours. Sometimes that can be just a bit shorter than the 4 months. We definitely recommend 4 months or even more, just because with the training process within your organization, it can take some time to build up that student's confidence and workplace capabilities. And then it can lead into really helping build that capacity and what you're able to do. Maybe start working on those projects that have been on the side of your desk for a little while. So definitely a benefit to you to really help engage the students as much as you can for the short period of time that you do have them. And I feel like I wanted to mention, and I think I might have forgotten to start, a lot of what INWIL is dedicated towards is really engaging with small and medium-sized businesses. Of course, we will help engage with those large organizations. And I think sometimes those large organizations have that, we can say, human resource or administrative support that can assist with hiring co-op students. You can kind of see INWIL, or maybe us currently in the role until we get another member there in UNBC, almost like an ad hoc HR team to help you understand what is the capabilities and what you're able to do with a co-op student in your organization. And you can see that all of our students in all three programs are pre-screened before being accepted into a co-op program. And they do go through pre-employment training, whether it be through a course, workshops, one-on-one meetings with their co-op coordinator. They are going to be well prepared to enter your workplace. The only thing they require, again, is mentorship. They do need that little bit of experience when they go into your role. If they work in your organization, it's definitely not going to be just so you're getting an extra pair of hands that can just work on maybe some stuff that you don't want to work on. Again, there's going to be moments that you're gonna need that support, but they also need that mentorship. They also want to be learning what happens in and out of your organization. I think that's the benefit of co-op, and that's an important piece that we really want to tell organizations, because and that's where the students are going to be the best talent, and that's how we're going to build that student pipeline for quality and effective students after graduation. Okay, so why should your organization engage with WIL? Excuse me. So these are 4 different areas here. So meet local talent needs. Typically, it can be when you're just looking for that short-term spurt that you just need that extra support. Again, sometimes we have a lot of hospitality industries, for example. They're going to be looking for maybe a summer co-op, right? They're going to be looking for those 4 months that can meet those needs for May to September, right? It could be maybe even the winter, right? I think we've had a lot of organizations maybe from different ski resorts, whether it be in the Lower Mainland and the Whistler or in our regions here, that are looking for that additional support. So it's important to kind of think about the areas where, excuse me, where they're able to learn and network with the next generation of talent, and how that short-term experience can really benefit a student. Build capacity. So again, as I mentioned, if you have opportunities, if there's some really cool projects you're looking to do within your organization, you just don't have that extra time, I think a student, it can be capable of providing that support. One of the things I like to mention within the co-op program itself is that a lot of the time you're going to get so many different programs that are going to be engaging with co-op, cooperative education throughout 3 institutions. I believe there's 100 different programs that are available through cooperative education. So if you're looking for a marketing student, supply chain, you're looking at sciences, you're looking into tourism, computer science, engineering, all those are available for co-op. And I think the most important thing to know is that sometimes these positions, you don't have to have a specific goal in mind to where what academic program they're going to be associated with. So if you're looking to work on some projects, there's going to be a lot of students that just want to get that experience and they want to engage, no matter sometimes with their background. They just really want those opportunities. So if they're applying for your organization, if they want to engage with you, it's because they want to learn more about what your industry is like, because they were still in their degree program and there's still opportunity for growth and change as they go through the program. So funding and supports is a really big one, and I think Don's going to do all the nitty gritty in the later half of the presentation on when it comes to funding supports. There's a lot of opportunities to get almost 50% off. I was going to say 50% off. It's like a nice sale. Wouldn't that be a good deal? It's like a sale to a student. Just kidding. So there's a lot of different funding supports available for you hiring a student. And again, that can be for a 4-month, 8-month, 12-month term. And some of those funding supports can be directly or correlated to a co-op, or it can just be some of those funding supports can just be for general hiring as well. But that will be spoken about again a little bit later on. And then mentorship. So that piece is important because in recent years, we're definitely looking to have, I think our universities or post-secondary institutions are doing a good job of providing that student services, but the mentorship piece can really build a benefit for the student coming from that third-party perspective mentorship, and also the employer is getting a lot of advice and mentorship from our offices as well. I think we all go about learning new things about our roles and our jobs as we go along, especially in these past 2 years during the pandemic. So I think mentorship is the big piece of why students should engage with WIL and why employers should engage with WIL. And it helps us grow and what we see the future looking like. So then that's how we can engage students on what to expect in the future workforce. So additional benefits of engaging in WIL. Some of these are repetitive, so my apologies if I repeat myself a little bit. Again, reciprocal relationship, you have the opportunity to add to a student, you have the opportunity to add to your organization, you have the opportunity to help really develop the student kind of experiences within each institution. One big piece, and actually I can speak of this because here you have the job fair coming up, but one big piece is building that employer profile. I think once you engage with students, and what we've heard from students is that they learn about an employer through sometimes these co-op programs, through their hirings, through the jobs that they post. And sometimes it could just be word of mouth. As a co-op student can engage with your organization, and then they can, however that experience went, again, typically, obviously, a lot of these experiences go well and there's positive feedback from them. They'll then tell their friends or other students or other classmates as they go along. And that can even build into graduation. So it's important to build a positive employer profile within the university, but also within the students. They're definitely a big a way of marketing for them. It's just chatting. So that's one of the bigger reasons and benefits of engaging and building that employer profile. So resources through PSIs, so post-secondary institutions. So again, it's only two, hopefully soon 3 of us within INWIL, and the resources that you can engage are going to be vast in all the 3 different areas. TRU itself is just myself in this presentation today, but there's probably another 12 to 13 people in my department. They're all dedicated and focusing on co-op programs, helping the students and helping the employers find specifically what helps them. For example, we could also have, there could be an accessibility employer coordinator. We have an Indigenous experiential learning coordinator. All these different areas, all these different resources, this is what the benefit of engaging with WIL can provide. Sometimes you want to access and you want to be clear on all the different areas when you're engaging with students. And I think the benefit of engaging with the PSI is that you get all those areas, you get all those resources, and they're always happy and more than willing to meet with you. And then co-creation of a future workforce. So you're definitely developing as you go along, whether it be a 4, 8, or 12-month term, you're developing a future that you know that you're maybe going to be able to hire that co-op student that once they become a graduate, or you know that you're developing them so they're ready and they're experienced to enter the workforce after graduation. It's definitely going to help, I think, the current needs of what hiring is currently looking for. So it's important to kind of have that engagement, and that's the piece of mentorship that I think will help build the workforce as we go through the next couple of years, which I'm sure will be a little bit of a recovery, a little bit of a bounce back, and I think that's an importance of work integrated learning. I'll pass it off to Don to explain a little bit of an employer testimonial here of co-op and work integrated learning.
Thanks, Jessi. So as Jessi mentioned, all types of organizations hire co-op students, but we really do find a lot of the organizations that are successful in hiring our students are more on that small, medium side organizations. So sometimes even just with a handful of employees. And these experiences are so wonderful for both the student and the employer to learn from one another, and a number of benefits that Jessi spoke about. It allows the organization to build capacity where there might not have been opportunity previously, and do so in a cost-efficient way due to the access to funding and supports, while providing that mentorship to a student and giving back in that way. So we can tell you again and again what the benefits are, but we wanted you to hear it from one of our co-op employers. Agents of Discovery is a local small business and education technology platform based in Kelowna. They've been a co-op employer with UBCO and a community partner since 2019, and they've hired over 6 students in the past 3 years from management, science, as well as human kinetics. And students work on writing projects, web development, graphic design, business development. There's not many aspects of the company that co-op students haven't yet touched on. Within their organization, co-op students have been able to integrate into their team really effectively and have repeatedly begun to add value right away. Building on that momentum for shorter 4-month experiences, Agents of Discovery has also had a lot of success with keeping students on for longer work terms, in turn allowing students to dig more into those complex tasks. We caught up with their team recently, and they were really proud to share that co-op students continue to add value, even when onboarding and working fully remotely during the pandemic. And we do share their story often because it's a really great example of how a small business can utilize student talent across various disciplines to grow their business and expand their talent pipeline. I also believe they've just gone on to hire someone, one of their past co-op students post-graduation, which is really a great success for everybody. So I will pass it back to Jessi.
Thank you. Yes, and that's what we like to hear, and we've heard it actually a lot more in different areas. We've heard even some of the co-op students. I think we had an event in the fall from an accounting company up in Prince George that a lot of the co-op students that they've hired throughout the years, they then brought back, and I've actually made more of an admin, higher executive positions within the organizations because of the benefit they found from these co-op students. So again, a nice little fresh perspective, especially for people that have, and some of these smaller organizations that have been working in their business for so long, and it gives them an idea of what currently is out there in the academic scale and the current workforce. As I go along here, what we've heard and developed. So just a little bit of survey findings, and I'm going to look at both my screens here, so I want to make sure I have all the right data here. When we asked small and medium-sized organizations the types of work integrated learning that they had participated in the past or currently engaged in, the majority of the respondents have not yet engaged in WIL, and you can kind of see that in that main. I'm not good at color, teal bluish color there. You can see that a lot of them haven't engaged, and that's a big reason why we continue to build these awareness and continue to have these webinars and these events, because we want employers to know. Again, this is all up to the organizations, all up to the employers to take initiative into WIL, but we wanted to make sure that at least they're aware of the benefits and what a work integrated learning student can provide for their organization. We know there's barriers and challenges, which is kind of typically what we've surveyed and broke down here. You'll see that 76% say that there's insufficient resources within our organization. And I kind of talked about it before. That can be administrative time, space, the time for providing that supervision or mentorship. I think a big piece of what we want to provide through INWIL and then through work integrated learning and through all of our offices is that we will help with that administrative time, right? We help try to provide that extra assistance, extra leg of work when it comes to finding what resources would benefit you. We typically like to create those and provide them through actually something which we'll talk about. Is one of the areas is through our resource hub, which is on our websites, which is INWIL website. And we want to provide that to the individuals to save up the time, whether that be through an email, whether that be through some of our guides, PDFs that we have created. That is what INWIL is trying to do to help small and medium organizations benefit from work integrated learning. Budget constraints. There's a little bit about funding again that Don will go over, and again that information is on our website. And challenges in recruiting qualified and skilled students ready for industry. I think with that percentage there, you'll see that we try to have events that really from the SMEs themselves, and really the ones that are specific in certain industries, we want to help kind of gather them together and build events that really engage students, that give them a better idea of what the kind of current state of the industry is and what they can do to prepare and be ready for it. Again, a lot of our co-op or work integrated learning programs provide that support and provide that training before they go into co-op terms or even after graduation. So again, a lot of what we try to initiate is those conversations on how we can better inform the students so they're qualified and skilled. And another aspect to it, the more work integrated learning, the more opportunities, the more businesses that are out there, the more feedback and experience that they can get, that they can take it to the next organization that they work with. Because again, one student can work with 3 different organizations, 4 different organizations when doing a co-op, or they can just work with the same one for 4, 8, 12 months, right? So there's definitely options there. Survey findings. So I kind of spoke to him again, but I'll quickly go over it. You'll see what kind of resources and values that we would bring into an organization and what an organization like ours can provide to SMEs. Easily accessible resources and guides. Hiring and onboardings are, we have 2 of them there as well. And probably our biggest and most popular one, I think Don just updated it, is on how to access grant funding. That's been changing in the past little while, kind of with COVID added extra benefits to it, but then again, we're in a different spot where we're in the start of a new year, so that's all changing, and Don will talk about that. And one-on-one support. So we have all these benefits, and we're in a webinar today, but we'll speak about what's on our website and at the end too. You can always connect with us. We can have one-on-one support in helping you understand your support specifically for opportunities where you want a student to be a benefit to you. You can do that by going to our website or sending us an email, but we're always happy to do that more of a one-on-one support. Or if there's 2 people in your organization, again, happy to have those conversations. We do have a kind of a job board posting form on our website. what that is that once you provide a posting to us, it then gets sent to all three universities. So it just helps, again, eliminate that administrative time, eliminated that time to access every single institution. Maybe it's not just us three too, but a bigger scale, it provides a little easier access, which there's other methods out there other than just INWIL. ACEWIL is a good platform for that as well when providing, when you're looking to access or post a job to multiple different work integrated learning institutions in BC. And additional events for networking. We've done a little bit in the fall. Again, we have hopes to do one or two in the upcoming spring, real soon, actually. So definitely, if there's any interest in that, where you can engage and network with a lot of our students, probably still virtually. I know things are picking up, but for us, I think it's easiest since we're kind of engaging through a lot of large area in BC. A lot of our events will be virtual this at least academic term, so up until April and May. But happy to always have those opportunities to hear from employers on how they would like to network and how they would like to engage with students. So quick little, you can see a little header and image of what our website looks like. That is the link, and I think Don can pop it in the chat there as well, since you can't click that. But these are the resources that are available within our website. I kind of just listed them on the top, but you can find more about us and our organization. You can connect with us directly with each institution if you want to have more of a conversation there. Right now, the website's changed just a little bit. There's a way where you can kind of actually book a meeting with us as that join our community partner list. So instead of a newsletter, you can now just book a meeting right there. You can find our employer resources right in the top there, and you can post a job and find all the events that we're up to. Currently, this is just always a work in progress, the website, and we like to build it up with our social media as well, because we do have social media channels that you'll hear about a lot of these resources and what we're up to next as well, which is like LinkedIn and Facebook, and we can kind of share that at the end as well. So I mentioned earlier, but I'll mention again. So these are the three obviously institutions participating in INWIL, and these are some of their areas or faculties that engage with work integrated learning and co-op. Once you're in the website, you can actually click some of these and it'll expand. So you'll see in school business and economics, you'll see that it's marketing, finance, supply chain, accounting, all the different areas, and as you go along, all these are the same for each institution. So you can find that there's so many disciplines and programs that you can really understand what is the current academics kind of breakdown of these programs, right? If you're looking to post a job and you get someone that says, hey, this is a student from UBCO and they're in the faculty of management, you can kind of learn a little bit more what that area is, and you can kind of engage a little bit more. And again, we're always happy to have those conversations of what do they really engage within in that faculty program, within the degree, within their major. And I think the most important thing I want to kind of lead with is that it's important to understand that all these disciplines will still provide a quality applicant to any of your roles. Again, if something's super specific, we probably, if it's a marketing job, maybe someone in engineering probably is not going to go into it. But for example, a lot of our events and marketing roles or communication roles, that could be business, that could be arts, sometimes that could be tourism. So there's a lot of different areas where these students can come from when applying for these postings. And it's important just to be open to those areas. And that's something I just wanted to mention. But I think what I'll do now is that I will pass it off to Donna, and she'll talk a little bit more about funding, the fun stuff.
The fun stuff. Thanks, Jessi. So alongside a lot of the benefits that Jessi's spoken about, there's also a number of funding resources available to organizations that wish to hire a work integrated learning student. There are an incredible amount of funding opportunities available, and as Jessi mentioned, they're changing all the time. But today we're going to walk you through some of the most popular and some that might be the most relevant to your business or organization. If you have any questions, again, about what funding resources might be best be suited to your organization or the role that you're wishing to hire for, connect with us directly and we can talk to you about which funding source or sources might be best suited to your organization. And there's likely going to be questions about funding at the end of the session or after you go through some of the resources. So Jessi, if you don't mind just popping our email in the chat there as well, feel free to connect with us anytime if any questions do arise around those funding resources. So to get us started, Generally speaking, there are 3 types of funding opportunities available to employers, and these include federal, provincial, and institutional grants and funding options. Currently, there is only one provincial funding option available. We'll go through this in a little bit more detail. It can't be used for co-op going forward, so for this upcoming May term at this point, just for general hiring, but we do want to share it with you today for your information. It's a great program and it is closing soon. So we'll go through each type of funding today, and then after the event, you're welcome to download the funding guide. I believe it will be circulated after as well. There are additional funding sources listed on the guide. Some of them are closed temporarily right now, but best to keep that website that we shared handy for when you are ready to hire. Check back in, connect with us, and we'll let you know which ones are, which funding options are open and available. But the ones we're going to go through today are currently open and accepting applications. So we'll dive into one of our most popular federal funding options, which is the Student Work Placement Program, or SWIP for short. You'll hear us refer to it as SWIP throughout the day. The SWIP program is managed by Employment and Social Development Canada, or ESDC, and they disperse funds through over 19 employer delivery partners. Each of these agencies focuses on different types of roles and areas of expertise. These recognized associations and organizations represent the interests of employers in various industries across the country and work with employers to provide wage subsidies for quality student work placements that support work integrated learning programs. So types of work integrated learning supported by SWIP can include, but is not limited to, co-op programs, practicums, and internships. So some general information on SWIP for you. The program currently funds up to 50% or up to $5,000 towards paid work experience related to a post-secondary student's field of study in both technical and non-technical programs across Canada. And funding for 70% or up to $7,000 toward the salary for a student who is from an underrepresented group, so visible minorities, women in STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math, Indigenous students, students with disabilities, and newcomers to Canada. The funds are distributed through different employer delivery partners, each one focusing on an area of expertise or industry sector. As mentioned previously, funding can't be stacked with other federal programs or for additional coverage of that hire. Programs may offer upfront funding for small and medium-sized organizations, but it is really important, if you're going to rely on that funding to be provided upfront, to ask questions ahead of time to the funder to confirm your eligibility for that upfront funding. It's important to keep in mind and be aware that reimbursement can take time. So having those conversations upfront with your specific funder is really, really important. The position that you're hiring for can't be an existing student role that you already have engaging in your organization. So SWIP funding is only permitted for net new students in an organization. So this means that in order to qualify for funding each year, the position must be incremental and new to a co-op position that you have had funded through SWIP in the past. So for example, if your organization hired 3 students last year, you must intend to hire 4 students in the current year to qualify for the wage subsidy for that 4th student. Or if this is your first time hiring a student and you've never hired previously, you would qualify for your first student hire under the program. And also, of course, remote work from home arrangements are certainly permitted as long as the student is being provided that supervision and support from their management team. So now we'll walk through a general overview of the eligibility requirements for the SWIP program, as well as some of the most relevant current delivery partners. It's important to note that each delivery partner has further eligibility requirements, and programs open and close at different times and have different application processes. But all programs across the board are first come, first served. And we'll share with you in the funding toolkit after this event. You can dig a little bit deeper into any that you may be interested in learning more about. So when we look at eligibility from the student side, when selecting a candidate under the SWIP funding, all students must be registered as a full-time student in a Canadian post-secondary education institution and enrolled in a recognized co-op or work integrated learning program. Students hired under SWIP funding must be a Canadian citizen, a permanent resident, or a refugee. Students hired under SWIP must be legally entitled to work in Canada in accordance with relevant provincial or territorial legislation and regulation. International students or students using a student work visa or work permit are not eligible for funding under SWIP at this time. However, there are certainly some additional options for you to engage international students that we'll touch on today as well. And then from the employer side, SWIP funding is open to registered Canadian businesses and nonprofits who fit the criteria from the funder of their choosing. But federal, provincial, territorial, and municipal governments don't qualify for SWIP funding at this time. Same with post-secondary institutions. And financial institutions are generally not eligible. But if you are a smaller financial institution, you may be eligible. It's just important to confirm that with the SWIP funder on a case-by-case basis. Applications generally take 20 to 30 minutes. And some funding agencies offer pre-approvals as well, so you can feel more set up and confident in hiring a student and getting started right away. Response time, however, can vary between 5 days to 4 weeks from the time you inquire to apply from the time you get an approval. So something important to keep in mind, generally speaking, if you know you'd like to hire a co-op student, the earlier you can show interest and apply for that funding, the smoother that transition will be. So now we're going to give a very quick overview of the 19 plus funders that are available through the SWIP program. This is not the full extensive list. They've added more funders recently, but this will help you better narrow down which funders might best to connect with through your industry or position for which you'd like to hire. And these slides, I believe, will be circulated after the event as well, so we won't go into all of them in detail. So starting off with those roles in information and communications technology, the Information and Communications Technology Council, or ICTC, offers the WIL Digital program, and it's an innovative work integrated learning program that helps employers grow their businesses by providing financial assistance for hiring post-secondary students. It's open to any Canadian business, nonprofit organization that provides a student with a meaningful work placement, which includes a digital or technology component and uses technology in some capacity. The Career Ready program, funded through TechNation Canada, supports businesses by financing their decision to hire a student work-term placement and for that student to build technical capacity. The TechNation Career Ready program supports tech immersive roles that across many different disciplines and functions. Same with the ICTC grant. You don't have to be a tech company to apply. Roles could include, but aren't limited to, marketing, strategy, data, and technology. And then some of the broader funding programs that span across all industry sectors include the three at the bottom of the slide there. So the Venture for Canada program, it's designed to give students access to Canada's entrepreneurial and innovation ecosystem with the training needed to thrive in small business environments. So the Venture for Canada is open to all industries or sectors, including nonprofits, charities, startups, and social enterprises. Organizations must be a small to medium-sized business, a startup, a social enterprise, nonprofit, or charity of 1 to 500 employees. The Talent Opportunities Program, or TOP for short, is an initiative of the Ontario Chamber of Commerce designed to help employers located anywhere in Canada hire work integrated learning students. It's open to any registered Canadian business, nonprofit organization operating in any industry sector. And then the Magnet Student Work Placement Program is open to any registered Canadian business or nonprofit organization operating in any industry sector. Again, students must have a work integrated learning component within their study plans. And I know we're running short on time, so with the next slide here, we'll circulate this after the event, but there are partners for nearly every industry or job role. So everything from environmental to manufacturing, arts and culture, electricity, media, aviation, biohealth, and more. All information on this event will be, all information here will be circulated after the event. So please feel free to reach out to us again if you have questions on any of these or are curious about where your organization might best be suited to apply. And then to the next slide, please, Jessi, thank you. And then how that looks in terms of what type of student you can tap into. We thought it might be useful to lay it out this way for you. There's over 100 different programs that students from our 3 institutions are actively participating in, and that's just co-op alone. So we've outlined some general program types and some sample roles, and then the SWIP funder that might best align with that program. This list is by no means exhaustive, but it helps to give you a really good starting point. There's also a funding guide that will circulate with a funding matrix, and that can help to further guide your understanding of what program might best be suited for you. And again, we understand it can be confusing. So Once you have that funding guide and you've been able to go through it, feel free to reach out to us, send us an email, and we can chat about navigating one-on-one what might best be suited for you to apply to. There are additional federal funding opportunities, and if you're interested in these, you can feel free to reach out to our team as well. So moving away from SWIP, there is also the Accelerate program and the Business Strategy internship from MyTax. MyTax powers research and development by connecting industry with post-secondary institutions to solve business challenges, both in Canada and internationally. So under the Accelerate program, MyTax connects companies with over 50 research-based universities through undergraduate students to postdoctoral fellows who apply their specialized expertise to business challenges. Interns transfer their skills from theory to real-world application, while the companies gain a competitive advantage by accessing high-quality research and expertise. The Accelerate program is open to all disciplines and industry sectors. Projects can span a wide range of areas, including manufacturing, technical innovation, business process, IT, social science, design, the list goes on. And there's opportunities those opportunities start at 4 months in duration. And we've listed some eligibility there for you as well. You can apply for the MyTax Accelerate program at any time of the year, and we can connect you with their team if you're interested in either pathway. And the Business Strategy internship, or you can call it BSI. Through that program, you can get help from an outstanding student with your innovation activities through a 4-month $10,000 or $15,000 award. Your contribution to that is 50%. Internships are structured to assist organizations' innovation activities versus their research activities to help them improve their products, processes, or services. The option is currently available to work integrated learning experiences with students through TRU or UMBC, and it's open to all businesses and eligible not-for-profit organizations. And then on the institutional side, in support of intercultural learning and development for students and community at UBCO, the Okanagan campus offers a grant program to support co-op employers seeking to grow in diversity, who value the intercultural development of their organization and who also will support international students in gaining meaningful employment in a Canadian context related to their field of study. The program supports 50% or up to $5,000 of the student hire's salary. To be eligible for the grant, the organization must be operating within the borders of Canada and be seeking to hire an international co-op student from the UBCO co-op program for a minimum of a 4-month work term. In addition, the organizations can only stack grants with other funding programs where international students are eligible. Generally, this is provincial funders. And as a part of co-op, the employer is required to provide the student with productive work during the work term, paid at a fair market wage, as well following other co-op requirements such as including student supervision and further performance evaluation by the employer or supervisor is mandatory. In order to qualify, being a one-time grant, the student or the position within the organization must be new. So if you have hired a student for 4 months and you want to apply for the second term, you absolutely can, but you would be waitlisted until those funds become available. And then lastly, currently there aren't any provincial programs open for co-op, specifically looking forward to the next term, which would be May. But there is one provincial funding opportunity we wanted to highlight today, and the one that's still open for a very short time. It's available to you if you have hired a co-op student for the most recent January term and are looking for some retroactive payment, or if you're interested in hiring a student in a more general sense for either a part-time or a full-time role. And as I mentioned, a number of provincial programs have recently closed. So if you can keep that website and the funding guide open and available whenever you are next looking to hire, there'll be some updated information that comes through as those programs open. So Innovate BC Innovator Skills Initiative program provides up to $10,000 to the employer and helps underrepresented groups get their first job in BC's tech sector and supports companies facing skill shortages to grow and expand. So we'll go through some general information for the program and we'll dive into some eligibility pieces. Employers can receive up to $10,000 per student through the Innovate BC program. Employers can apply for up to 10 grants for 10 different employees per year. And the employer is accountable for the remainder of the student's salary if that $10,000 doesn't cover you up to 100%. If you're going to utilize this grant in the very, very near future, in the next couple of weeks, the student work term has to have started no earlier than June 1st, 2021, and start no later than March 15th, 2022, with that position ending no later than July 15th, 2022. So we still have a couple of weeks for a student to start, but for a co-op position to utilize this funding, you'd actually just be looking at some retroactive payments, and we can go through that if you're in that situation. So applications close for this program on March 11th. So if you're interested, we encourage you to check out the funding guide, click on the link to the Innovator Skills Initiative program and explore that a little bit further. And Jessi's got the eligibility up on the screen there. So as an organization to be eligible, you have to be a BC-based business with less than 500 employees on payroll, in addition to some of the following listed on the screen. So a BC-based tech company or tech nonprofit hiring for any role, or a BC-based non-tech company, organization, or nonprofit hiring for a tech role, or a BC-based post-secondary institution hiring for a tech role, or a BC-based local or regional authority hiring for a tech role. And then on the student side, the student must be an undergrad student enrolled in a work integrated learning program, or you can also hire an intern or utilize it for general hiring. They can be a domestic or international student. Preference for the program are those who self-identify as belonging to an underrepresented group. So this can, but is not limited to, including Indigenous students, Black and people of color, 2S LGBTQIA+ students, neurodiverse students, persons living with a visible or invisible disability, women, youth from care, non-binary, and a variety of others as well. And then that student must be eligible to work in BC. All right, so in summary, partnering with our 3 institutions through this project and becoming an INWIL employer provides a streamlined process and access to 3 post-secondary institutions, UBCO, TRU, and UMBC. Our aim through this project is really to simplify and streamline what it means to connect with student talent and gain access to tools and resources to help you succeed through that process. And it also gains you access to events, resources, and guides, which are updated quite regularly as things change, particularly in the funding world. They change all the time, as Jessi mentioned. So really great to have that connection and utilize us as a resource in that way. So some student engagement events in the coming months, and particularly leading up to the beginning of each upcoming term. So May and September, we're looking to do some student engagement events where small and medium-sized employers have the opportunity to present to students, and students have the opportunity to ask questions, learn about opportunities to work with our local SMEs throughout BC, and make professional connections in an informal virtual format. So we're just planning these events, so our 2022 dates are coming soon. But if you're interested in this or any other future events to connect with student talent, please shoot us an email, connect@inwil.ca, and we can have a conversation and plan that with you. And lastly, if you're interested in engaging a co-op or work integrated learning student, you can of course connect with us, but there are over 25 public post-secondary schools that offer work integrated learning throughout the province. And we encourage you to connect with those in your backyard to explore WIL further. ACEWIL is the governing body for co-op and work integrated learning within the province, and they have great resources, including a list of all institutions that engage in work integrated learning. And I believe Jessi's going to pop that link in the chat there for everybody. But again, if you're not sure where to start and you're really just starting your journey with co-op and WIL, feel free to reach out to us anytime. And that is it for the formal part of our presentation. We'll open it up for any questions if there are.
Yes, thank you so much, Dawn and Jessi, for that really informative presentation. I know it's always a popular topic when women entrepreneurs want to know about the grants and funding resources. So I really appreciate you taking the time to fill out some of that piece as well. I do have some questions here for you to get the conversation started, and please, everyone who's listening right now, please pop it into the chat for any questions that you have. But here's one question. So If I were interested in hiring a student, but I'm concerned I don't have enough work for them to do for a 4-month co-op term, what types of work do co-op students usually do to fill up their work terms?
I can take that one, sure. So work can be quite varied and really depends on the organization and what's going on in your business. But this could be anything like pressing projects or something that's been on the side of your desk that could use assistance in completing. So anything from marketing to HR support, finance, accounting, general administration, events or fundraising, operations or project management, kind of the list really goes on. There's a wide variety of places that students can help support in an organization. Employers use it as an opportunity to train and mentor students, sometimes to cover vacation, especially in that kind of key May timeframe in the summer, and then allows the student to take on different projects as well. But if you're not sure if you have enough hours, connect with us. We can help write job descriptions as well, and maybe ask those questions to draw out other things that student might be able to support you with. But also co-op isn't for everybody right off the bat. So we can explore other forms of work integrated learning or general hiring with you as well and explore those pathways together.
Great. Okay. And I have a question about remote businesses. So for remote businesses, can you hire a student to work remotely? And I do find this is kind of a double-edged question. Often these types of businesses hire these staff as contractors versus employees. So I'm wondering if you can touch on those two topics.
I can definitely touch on that, and I actually think this helps address Lisa's question too. That should just pop in the chat, and then hopefully we have time for. I think there's a funding question in there too. We should try to answer. But yes, you're definitely able. Hopefully, I understood the question. Yeah, you're definitely able to hire a student remotely, and I think Lisa's question was that she's located in Vancouver. Can I hire a student that's from an institution outside my region? You most definitely can. Like a lot of this, if you're looking for a student in person. It's up to the student's responsibility. Again, there's if there's ways where you can help and make it easier on the student, I'm sure they would greatly appreciate it. But again, you're more than welcome to put postings in many institutions across BC. Again, it becomes a little bit more work when you have so many open postings at different universities, but that's why the benefit of INWIL or ACEWIL can provide that assistance. So yeah, you can definitely hire students remotely anywhere really, but also if you want to hire for in-person, you can definitely hire outside your institution. And I think there was a blurb about contractor and what was that blurb again? I don't know if you mind repeating that again.
Yeah, contractors versus employees. Can you hire co-ops as contractors?
Gotcha. Yeah, you can definitely. So a student has to be in the payroll to have, and I guess a contractor might be as well, but it has to be a kind of like a permanent employee for that organization within that time. So when it's a contractor, it's a little bit different. They're not typically in the payroll in that sense. So that wouldn't work for any funding or co-op terms. But hiring an employee on as a staff for 4, 8, 12 months definitely is what it will be acceptable to have it to an institution and to have funding that way.
Great. Okay. And we've got 2 more questions and then we'll have to wrap up for today. So Tony Boot has this question up here. I'm not sure if you can read it. She's just wondering if she'd be eligible for a specific program.
I was just typing a response, but Tony would love to chat with you directly about it as well. But the short answer is you're understanding it correctly. If you apply for the student work placement program and are successful, you would be eligible to use that funding provided you don't stack it with any other program, which the one you've mentioned is the CSJ program. So as long as you're not stacking those two or using them both together for the same student, then you would still be eligible for that federal SWIP funding as well. And likely, if you were to apply now, you would know before April 23rd as well. So hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, that's great. And then one last question before we wrap. So Cecile is wondering how many hours students are available to dedicate per week.
I can go for that one. Also CSJ, I'm assuming you mean Canada Summer Jobs Program. Anyways, just more in my head, I'm assuming that's what that meant. But yeah, it depends. Again, the minimum hours is 420 within a work term. But what a student can work can be up to the employer. Mostly what that is just followed under typical Work BC legislation, right? You can't. There's legislation on when and how and all that stuff, how an employee can work. If you have ways where you want a student to work maybe at night or in the morning, or you want them to work 7 days a week, again, just following those protocols on any worker within BC is what you would have to follow. As soon as they're on the payroll, that's pretty much that you treat them like any other employee when it comes to that sense on how many hours you can work them, what's the minimum amount. Again, Don just put in there 30 is the minimum per week, up to a full-time hours of 40. But again, how that looks, again, when their start time is, can be up to you. You can be flexible on that. So yeah, good question for sure.
Wonderful. Okay, well, in just looking at the time, we've got 11 o'clock, and it's really important that we do wrap up today and get some feedback from our participants. I just want to thank you, Jessi and Don. You've done such a great job providing this information, and we just really appreciate the time that you've taken with us today. Before you go, we want to know how we did. So I've just launched a poll. Please take a moment to fill out this feedback, as it's really important as we build these sessions. Also on the slide, you can see that we've got a number of great trainings coming up, starting on March 1st. You can attend this session for free, learning how to bid on government contracts when you're selling goods. We have this bi-weekly business loan information session, and if you're interested in our loan program, that's really the first place to start. We also have a whole series on how to export. And exporting means selling your goods or services beyond BC's borders, so it's not always international. And then the last session we have here is about supplier diversity, which is a certification that you can get as a woman in business, getting that certification as a woman business owner. So more info on April 7th about that. And thank you all so much. I really encourage you to provide the feedback in this poll. I will leave it open for another couple minutes so we can get your feedback. Again, we really appreciate your time. Please subscribe to our e-newsletter and stay up to date with us. And we'll leave it there. So thank you all. I hope you have a great day, and thank you again for your time.
And thank you for having us.